with makeup with Stephanie to do it a little different, and we're gonna let Roy pick
the
lip gloss.
I guess it's because I wore a shirt that matched your purse. As I'm
Don't
getting
ruin
this,
my purse vibe. Come on.
I'm getting this privilege of going. We get down in the dark recesses of the 17.
Don't judge me.
Ooh, we
why
get
are
the
you doing
black.
that one? All right.
What
Do
is
I
it?
have to use it?
I guess you
picked
said
it?
the one I'm going to pull out.
It's the MAC. It's the red one. Cross wires, because your wires are totally crossed.
Well, that's probably very
Speaking
true.
of, I wanted to talk. So now I want to start adding the wackiest fashion trends or makeup trends because I think it's great how people's minds work. If my producer will flash up the photo.
Oh, God.
Look at those fingernails. It's somebody's face with hair. I mean, this is okay. It's wacky and it's crazy. This is what I think goes on in your mind. So I think this is why
explain.
I like it.
Explain what sort of dark recesses of the chick's mind would you do something like this?
Nobody knows. That's why we wonder what comes out of your mouth at the time. I'm just kidding.
No, you're
But to
not.
do faces with hair on your fingernails, I mean, and then what happens if you're eating a hamburger?
Yeah,
and then
what do you
bite,
do?
And then you bite the hair,
How do you
what?
function with 3
And then
inches of hair coming out
and
of
then
your?
spiraled fingernails?
You
How do you wipe your butt? No, I'm serious.
Look at all the fecal matter that's probably in that hair.
And we're worried about COVID or something.
Yeah.
Is that what it's called?
So yeah, you're pretty
Something like that?
close.
I don't know. Anyways, I love it. I'm gonna come.
Boy, that is
with
freaking.
Roy faces on my. No, I'm just kidding. That'll be scary. I can't look at you that much. I'm just kidding.
No, you're not.
I know.
There's that funky slide guitar music that comes in every 5 o'clock Monday through Friday on Newswire Daily on Facebook and YouTube. The makeups with Stephanie.
It's getting better.
It's getting more bizarre.
No, it's getting way better.
No, it's getting way more bizarre as we get to it.
You really got to go on there and like and subscribe to the YouTube channel so that way you guys can see it every day. Because I mean, those makeup trends, they're spot on, man.
Yeah, they're a trip. I mean,
we'll hook you up, Roy.
They're going on. Yeah, it's worth the logging into the YouTube channel to see that.
And if you disagreed, please don't tell me. Anyways,
of the deal. Oh, we got a lot of stuff coming up. Again, like I say, it's COVID 24/7, 365.
What's COVID?
Yeah. Oh, that's that little
Never heard of it.
That little mountain that they're having skiing up on out in Ontario or something.
Ontario. I feel like I've heard that before.
Oh, well, that's about as bizarre as it is, that. And, Google this one. I think it's Elena Goodman. Remember we did the story about the couple that drank the Clorox for Trump?
Oh, yeah.
Elena Goodman's doing it. Google Elena Goodman and the disinfectant and bring her story up.
Thinking of the fish cleaner people.
Yeah, there's more to that story because really, did that make any sense to you that two people would just start drinking fish tank? Don't give away the. Don't give it away.
But some people don't pay attention to the news. I always do. That's why I watch Newswire. That's how I get my information. Really.
They're on that. But yeah, it is as our producer shouted out from the treetops.
I don't think
on
anyone
that.
heard.
I guess from
she killed him?
Well, it's under investigation. We're looking at it.
Well, I mean, it was kind of obvious. She's the one that served him the damn fish cleaner.
Yes, that's what.
But she didn't die though, right?
No, she didn't die.
Oh,
the husband died.
She gave herself enough to get sick. Correct?
Is this how the female mind works?
Yeah, we're freaking brilliant.
And it's under investigation because the family of
as it should be. I mean, even when I read it, it was like, oh,
yes.
That's sketchy. That was planned.
The family of the aforementioned, the room temperature now, Mr. When we get the story up, the husband who was, who unfortunately passed away from this, his relatives said this guy was an engineer. He would never do anything like this. So the police department investigators, homicide division, rolled over there and decided to open an investigation, and now it's under investigation of that homicide. Well, no, I guess I know the answer to this. What's the definition of homicide?
What? Now you're putting me on the spot. Murder?
No, homicide is just death at the hands of another. Doesn't necessarily
homicide?
mean, well, yeah, that's a homicide. Murder is
Oh, I thought you said homicide. He said homicide.
homicide. Yeah.
How?
Murder is intentionally killing you, like you want to do with me every day.
Right.
That's intention. If you intentionally go out to kill somebody, that's murder. Homicide could be death at the hands of another. Now that could be, there could be extenuating circumstances. Maybe somebody was attacking you and you shot them.
Right.
That would be a homicide investigation because the person died at the hands of another. But it could be ruled a justifiable shooting because the guy pulled a gun on you, was threatening to shoot you or your family or something.
How do you say it again?
Homicide.
What?
Homicide.
Okay. Anyways. I like how you say stuff sometimes.
So, yes, I have a unique talking style.
Yeah, you and my mom. My mom would say, never mind. Anyways. See, I stopped digging. I'm learning. Love you, Mom.
That goes something to show you. How could there be anything more simple than the first law of holes? When you're in one, stop digging. But why is that such a hard concept for the human being to grasp?
I don't know, because it's just ridiculous. Anyways, going back to your story, what was I going to say? Why did she have to kill him, though? I don't get why people have to kill. Why didn't she just leave him? Why you got to kill people?
Did you find the story?
Sad.
Oh, no, it never come up on our screen.
You were busy trying to pronounce the word correctly, which you failed to do.
Oh, there it is. Police investigating death of Arizona man from chlorine phosphate. Mesa City PD opens investigation of the deaths of Gary Lennis, whose wife Wanda said she served him a deadly cocktail to ward off coronavirus. This is by Elena Goodman. Mesa City Police Department Homicide Division is investigating the deaths of Gary Lennis, the Arizona man whose wife served him a soda mixed with a fish tank cleaner in what she claimed was a bid to fend off coronavirus. A detective handling the case confirmed investigation to the Washington Free Beacon on Tuesday after requesting a recording of the Free Beacon's interview with Lennis's wife, Wanda. It goes on to explain the Donald Trump thing, or her story was, they thought they were going to prevent coronavirus so that, yada, yada, yada. Roll up the story a little bit. See if I can find, there you go. Another source was asked if identifying information was told the Free Beacon earlier in the month that Wanda Lennis would constantly berate Gary in public. Everyone was embarrassed for him, but he outwardly did not seem to care much. So it seems like if the reports in the paper are correct, Wanda was not too happy most of the time with old Gary. And then all of a sudden, the old fish tank cleaner story with that, and we're drinking it to do that, and Gary winds up dying, and she's surviving, and now the cops have opened a homicide investigation on that. So, which it didn't make any sense. Why would you drink a cocktail of fish tank cleaner? I mean, unless you were just the most incredibly stupid backwards, which this guy apparently was not.
Right.
There's nothing in his background that suggests that
he worshipped her.
Yes.
And they're worried because she would routinely call him doofus.
Yes. It
Wow.
Seems like Wanda has been a long time not too happy with Gary.
Well, yeah, with the domestic abuse assault in 2001. But doofus, I mean, why that word?
I think she probably, that's what I say, it seems like she was none too happy.
It is degrading and it's mean, but I don't know. I'd be more focused on domestic violence, not so
Yeah,
much
I
the
mean,
doofus part, but
there seems
that's
to
just
be
me.
a pattern or history of this going on in their relationship over many, many, many years. So, unfortunately for Gary, we're not going to get his side of the story anymore. But I'm
Well,
a
rest his soul. That's a horrible.
I'm a thinking old Wanda's probably going to be in a heap of trouble here pretty soon
I would
when the
hope so.
investigation is over on that. Protest Day. Oh, we want to give you an update and find some video of the protesters. There was protesters all across the California today on May 1st, the day that we should have had a lot of this stuff relaxing. A lot of states across the fruited plains are opening up for business, getting back to normal. There's the crowds at Huntington Beach today that were gathered to protest the closure of Orange County beaches. Good news is the people were out there. They were peacefully protesting. Nothing, no major things going on. There you go. You see the beaches were ordered closed by Gavin Newsom as the crowds flocked, which is not, they weren't flocked. People were
That's crazy.
were doing that. The
They just want to go to the beach.
not so good news is that Huntington Beach and Dana Point filed for an emergency junction in court today to have the ban that Gavin Newsom put in on just only Orange County beaches. Unfortunately, he did not grant the injunction. He continued the case till May 11th. He wanted to get more information on this and not make a snap decision and yada, yada, yada. So until at least May 11th, the governor's order stands. The Orange County beaches will be closed. It remains to be seen how they will be enforce that on that. Maybe we'll get a comment when we have Tom Del BECCARO, I think Harvard educated attorney, was a Senate candidate, I think in 2014, former chairman of the California State Republican Party of that. Now look at the protests. And if you get some close-ups of it, most of the people are not wearing masks. They're not social distancing. What is it? It's probably 80 degrees out in Huntington Beach today where they're doing it. Your odds of getting coronavirus, COVID-19, and all this other stuff are doing that. Run the picture up. Now, this is a protest. Well, we have some video, but I wanted to do the protest one of this. This is the one at the state capitol in Sacramento. A bunch of freedom-loving, business-loving folks were on there. Now look at one or two of the cops in the background have the full-on nuclear respirators on. Look at the cop standing, and the guy didn't get a good picture of it, but the crowd is right up. You can see one of the protesters with a sign over to the left.
Right.
The crowd is right up next to the highway patrol officers that are blockading the citizens from going into the state capitol. Now, how many masks do you see on the highway patrol officers all up and down the line of going to all the people standing there right in the same nose? They're almost nose to nose. They're not social distancing. Nobody has any masks on.
They're essential employees, so they have to have a mask on?
Yes, they're supposed to. Well, if there is this big threat on coronavirus, and you could give it to somebody and kill your mom, as the PSA
Stop yelling
statement.
at me.
I'm not yelling at
I know.
you.
You're scaring me, though.
It's the PSA statement that goes around.
No, they should definitely. Why don't they have masks on?
There
they
you go.
should.
If all this stuff
They're
is
the leaders. Leaders should.
yes.
But then, and I mean, I don't mean to start crap by saying this, but then when Trump
Please
comes
start
on,
some crap.
when Trump comes out and gives a speech, should he have a mask on?
Trump said, "I'm not wearing a mask. It's up to you."
Okay, well then
There
they
is-
said they're not wearing a mask. It's up to them.
There is no statement.
But he's the leader, and he's therefore I feel like he should have a mask on. I mean, I don't wear them, and so I'm like, whatever. If he doesn't, I'm not going to throw a fit about it. But I'm not the president either. I'm just a mom from Moreno Valley.
There is no state mandate that I know of that requires you to wear a mask. Social distancing, yes. Mask, no.
Just saying.
So if these and we got some real world studies on how effective these masks are and what the dangers of the masks are on that. I think we have some video too of the Sacramento one there's one of them where it's showing all the guys in the full-on nuclear respirator, walking around the face shields. But then these guys that are actually guarding the Capitol of that are standing nose to nose with the protesters on a line that looked to be about 200 or 300 feet long of that. And they have no masks on, and nobody's having a big fit. There's nothing going on down in Orange County. Most of the protesters did not have any masks. Most of the protesters at Sacramento and probably everywhere else up and down the coast can do that. Anyway, if anybody wants to call in here in the next 10, 15 minutes, express that. Phone number is 951-242-5397. But look at all the,
That phone number is in the comment, as well as the link to the YouTube. I'm guessing it's a protest.
Yes, and all that that, and you look at all the things that are going on all this stuff, and what for what? There is no logical reason.
I mean, it's only going to get. These protests are only going to get worse.
Yes, if they.
But I did.
We're 6 weeks into this crap. March 19th.
I feel like it's longer than that.
Well, yeah, it seems like it's been 6 months.
Longer than that.
We're 6 weeks getting into 6 weeks on this crap, and we're still no. Well, maybe people are just saying screw it.
Right.
They're saying we're done with this crap. Up and down the line. You cannot lock people up on 2,000 deaths statewide. What, 39 or 40 or something in Orange County of 3 million people, and you can't go to the freaking beach?
I don't know. That's crazy.
This is stupid. I mean, Riverside County, I hope the supervisors pull Tuesday morning that they vote to pull the mask wearing and that and roll back to the social distancing. And I am advocating. This is my position. Is the social distancing doesn't work. We put plenty of stuff and of indications. Again, give me the example. 2,000 deaths in L.A., 20,000 approaching in New York, 40 million, 20 million. So it's 20 times larger death per population in New York. And we put the social distancing order in on March 19th, New York on the 20th, a day later. Then if the social distancing is the main reason why, and mask wearing and all this stuff is why, then why in the hell is there such a disparity in there? I'm submitting to you it's not because of social distancing or mask wearing. The only variable in this is the density of the population of the two areas where this is breaking out, and that's New York City. And that's why they're having the big death rate and the concern in there. That's the environment they choose. They can live with it. They might want to do that, but again, where did their social distancing policies help them? Thank God it's Friday. For what?
As a teacher, I'm glad that I'm off this weekend.
You finally got the...
Yep.
You finally got the deal. But no, it's crazy. It's totally crazy of what's...
And then I heard that he might, the governor is saying to bring back school end of July, beginning August. We already went back at the beginning of August.
They should be having the schools now. We've got an article on there of showing the study that says kids can't transfer this stuff. So if they don't have a compelling
reason... Do they get it? Because, I mean, I know there was that one child.
Well, they do get... They can
get
it, but they don't spread it. But we have a caller on the line who's up.
Here I am.
There you go. What's up, Pop?
Well, like I told you when this first started, this is the first step to socialism. It's been a test. They're testing, see how far they can push the people. The good people, like you saw Como that's in his cellar down there where he gets a haircut. The woman up there that's running Chicago, she gets all her haircuts and la-di-da done, and what is it, Blasio running up and down the good parks?
Yes.
Obama's gets hauled to a private golf course. All of them, all the professionals get everything done. So what we're seeing is the first. This is the beginning to the end of freedom. It's over, folks. You better get used to it. This is what's going to be done. They're testing. They're testing how far they can push the people, and they're going to keep doing this and doing this. Why do you think they added on to the June 19th? Just to see how far they could push it.
Yes, it is, and I've said it on the air. If we continue, and I thank God for the protesters that are going up, but I mean, if we just sit on our hands, or the vast majority of us, I mean, we're going to think, we're going to be begging for socialism, because what they want is they want a supreme king, communist dictator. What they got in store, only Mussolini and Stalin could have dreamed of.
Well, we got exactly what Mussolini and Hitler and all of them did together. They were both fighting to be the number one spot. You got the West Coast fighting with the East Coast, and the people in the middle there. They're coming up with their little ideas, like the mayor of Chicago and all the rest of them. It's me. I want to be the king. So I saw. We got to see what happened during Second World War. All the people was making deals. So this is the first beginning, folks. Get used to it, because you're never going to get the freedom we had when they shut it down. And you heard Trump say it many, many times. He did not want to shut it down. 2 doctors that never worked in hospitals shut this whole thing down. He says they told him he had to shut it down. Not anything else. They lied about how many millions of people were going to die and everything else. So they along with the the New World Order and World Health Organizations, along with all the other richies like Bill Gates and everybody, they are running the country. And we, the people, are just little sheepies following. Watch and see. It will never end.
I wanted and I floated it out there. We had Jeff Hewitt on, and he's hopping mad about this stuff. I mean, I'm thinking, I'm getting more stronger on this. I think we should be there at 8 o'clock on Tuesday at the Board of Supervisors office, sitting right in front of the doorsteps. Have Chad Bianco, the sheriff there, the supervisor there. If they don't let us in without any mask and all this stupid stuff, we're going to start burning masks right there. And I want to see which one of you guys is going to order the arrests on it.
Well, you watch the people with their masks. They finger them in the inside. They take them off. They put them on. Watch people when they have them down and talk. They stick their fingers right above their nose, pull the mask down, pull it back up. And now if all the virus is on the inside of that mask that you're breathing on, what's on your fingers?
There you go. Pull up one of the mask stories. I think one of them about a mask and cloth masks on this, of that. They've done studies on this stuff. The efficacy of cloth masks. We'll put the links in the IEN comments. But basically, these cloth masks, it's infinitesimal the amount that it may stop, and it may even do more harm than good for exactly what you're talking about. They've done scientific studies on this. It's all a bunch of BS. We know it of that. And on top of that, put the French study up of the schools. They're saying they've done a study, one kid of that in France or something of that, that kids really can't, not even are very non-susceptible to getting it. They can't even it's very difficult for spreading them. So what is the justification for closing the schools?
That's it. Well, I missed the station, but they had a deal on there with using lasers with light, and they had people coughing through the mask. All the stuff was still coming through, not all of it, but it's still coming through. And if you walk through that cloud of whatever they were coughing, you walked into it. And if you had a mask on, the same amount will come up through, while you're sucking it through the mask. They showed it going back on the inside of the mask. So there is no filtration.
That's what they're talking about. Is that instead of maybe it just going by you or whatever, the mask and the cloth can actually catch it in there, and then you're sitting there breathing it instead of, maybe an infinitesimal chance of you walking by. Well, it can hang on the mask, and then you sit in there and breathe it and get it in.
Right.
So
and then you go, like I say, you watch the people when they're going in and out of the store, because they go early in the morning, they pull their mask down, they pull their mask up. Now they got their fingers on the inside, you get their fingers on the outside. So you're putting all the stuff out there anyway, and then when you go through the check stands, they got their little plastic gloves on, but they're handling all that dirty money. I hand them dirty money, they hand me back dirty money. What's this?
Yeah, that's what Chuck Becker pointed that out on there. He said, "Well, what's the big deal? I went into the store and we're behind. We got masks on and plexiglass on there, but man, they can't wait to grab them green dollar bills out of your hand. And like I say, just go start page. Don't use that alert or DuckDuckGo. whatever it is, do that. Go just Google how many germs and everything is on money. It's one of the most germ-ridden, bacteria-ridden disease, and that is a good thing because the virus needs you. You need the virus. The bacteria needs you. You need the virus. That's how we all survive.
Well, when me and John go to coffee every morning, we hand that lady at the window there because we go through the drive-through. She hands us. She's got her gloves on, but she's handing me my, and give me back my change and everything every day since this has been going on. So, what are they talking about?
Yes, and you're handing they're handing the food. Everybody's going through the drive-through or whatever, handing the food back and forth. You're not accomplishing anything, folks. In my opinion of this, no way, no how. Actually, in the end, you're going to find out if you keep this up, it's going to make everything worse on this. Again, it's...
Well, I argue, you know who I'm talking about. He's frantic about this. I says, well, I'm not worried about that little bug. I says, I beat lightning. I had lightning strike me and throw me back. My brother watched me get hit with it. Now, if I can survive lightning, I'm not going to worry about this little bug.
Well, no, just ask them, did you take biology in school?
Yeah.
And that's how I've had experts, doctors, epidemiologists, biologists who happens to be sitting in the board of supervisors seat of that, and nobody has disputed that I have said, that I have stated, and like I said, that's what I learned in, I don't remember, probably junior high or high school, I don't remember which one, but that was part of the biology course. They taught you can't be, not only do you not be afraid of this stuff, that's part of how we all survive. This is the way all the universe works. You try and destroy that, you're going to, like I said, the average life expectancy is going to start shrinking after decades of us
But you're saying all this, and I think that people still have fear thinking that it's going to
Well, they don't make you take biology anymore. When I was a sophomore in old Poly High, you had to take a quarter of that just so you learned the basics.
Yes.
They don't do that no more.
Yeah, that's what I say. What are they learning?
Yeah.
What are they being... Obviously, there's been a whole lot of generations in there that ain't been taught this stuff because first thing when they would say that when I heard this, I said they've got to be freaking kidding on this stuff. I mean, we got to figure out how to defeat the stupid thing, and you know what? That's by getting it. How can not getting it or trying to live in this antiseptic bubble is going to fix it, because everything I have seen and been taught or heard or anybody said before 180 degrees contradicts this. You got about 30 seconds left.
Well, all you can point to say when the Pilgrims came to what we call the United States, what happened to all the Indians that didn't have it wasn't to the European viruses? What happened to all them Indians? Thousands of them.
There you go.
Died.
Yes, they died. Yes, we killed. We did this in the 16 or 1700s.
Yeah.
We did this to the Indians when the Pilgrims when the English came over and the Indians were never exposed to the virus the virus these guys had. Practically all of them died.
Yep. Talk to you later.
You got it. Hi, Teresa. Is that Teresa the one whose son is Jarrett?
I'm not going to comment on that.
Yes, and the reason, Teresa, and I put it in there in the comments, I don't know if you see it, the reason I don't comment on there is Facebook is not allowing me to comment on your post for some reason. Somehow I get the black letters, somehow they're blocking me and you. That's why I don't comment on your...
She probably has you blocked.
On your yes, of that. But no, if I change to IE Newswire on there, I can do it. But if I do it on my profile, it won't do that. But like I said...
Anyways, I think that people, you're sitting here saying about how stupid it is and all this other stuff, but they're not hearing the doctor side that we have throughout the week, that they really need to go back and maybe rewatch or investigate a little bit more, because having Dr. Kelly on, or Kelly Victory on, and who's the other lady that we had on? We haven't had her on in a while.
Yes,
I forgot who it was, but you forgot too. Anyways, but I mean, they give so much great information, and they really do take the fear out of it.
Yes.
I forgot what your little saying was. Facts, not fear. You guys, when we have them on, you guys should really watch if you're scared and you're worried about this affecting you or hurting you, because they really do give a lot of great information.
Yes, we had Dr.
And
Steve
they explain how,
yeah.
basically, I feel like we're being lied to.
We are.
I mean, it's a lot.
It
They're
goes back.
using the fear, and it's sad because seeing Teresa herself wants to stay home and not see her friends. And I love that you're protecting yourself. And if you feel comfortable doing that, by all means do that. I'm not saying you're doing it wrong, but I hate that people are scared.
Yes,
And I feel like they shouldn't be.
It was my example about the greenie stuff and the way they're hijacking recycling and stuff and putting the fear. They're putting the
Okay,
fear.
don't go to recycling.
They're putting the fear in kids about this stuff all
They're
the time.
not fearing kids.
Yes,
We're
they
trying-
are.
No, they're not.
They're
We're
saying
done
you're
with the
killing
recycling.
dolphins.
Because you are if you don't cut the little soda top.
No, they're
stuff.
not. No, you're not.
Yes, you
Just
are.
like
if you
this.
don't cut the plastic on the soda,
It's-
you're killing fish.
It's
right,
not.
Sean?
We put all the.
I have photos.
We put all the statistics up on that. They're not choking of.
Yes, they are.
Of all that. We produced 1% of the plastic bag
You
pollution.
know how
of
much
that.
crap ends up in the ocean? It needs to end up in a landfill. I'm not saying let's do your little gas.
1
crap.
minute,
I don't
guys,
care.
1
Don't
minute.
put it in the
We
ocean.
send it to China, and then they just burn it right out the incinerator.
And look at how
and the
they breathe
smokestack.
out there and all their little
But
air
then
pollution.
that's what
It's
you
horrible.
did. Instead of throwing it in the trash and getting
Why would you
rid
want
of
air
the germs.
pollution?
Why would you get rid of the germs like we did before with the plastic bags, like we said?
I'm not against the bag. I agree with you on the bag stuff, but why
Well,
would you
that's
want
what I
air
said. That was
pollution?
the excuse for that. We're killing dolphins with that. No.
We are. That's why people cut the plastic crap on their soda cans. Don't give me the hand. He gave me the hand. Freaking diva. Anyway.
Talk to the hand.
I know, right? The hell. Anyways.
30 seconds.
But that's what they do. They scare people. Fear, like I said,
They're
fear.
trying to have cleaner air.
Fear is
to
the
breathe.
biggest motivator, and they use stuff like the greenhouse gases.
Well, you're scaring the crap out of me.
Everything else to do.
All
this.
right, guys,
So
here
why-
we
Right, and
go.
most pollution comes from China. Thank
Tab,
you.
Hear any show anytime you want.
IE Newswire Daily is on the air.
The following is a paid program. Views and claims expressed are those of the program producer and are not endorsed by this station. Opinions expressed are not necessarily those of radio station KMET, its management, employees, or affiliates.
Guitar music that comes on every 5:30 Monday through Friday on the Mighty Med 1490 KMET, broadcasting all over the Inland Empire on IE Newswire Daily on a
Fast Friday.
on that. And if you had plans on going to the beach, I don't know how it's going to work out, but the judge in Orange County did not grant the temporary injunction of Gavin Newsom closing down the Orange County beaches. So I don't know how Orange County's going to handle that, but man, there was tons of protesters there. There were tons of protesters at the Capitol. They would not let them into the state capitol to redress their government. We have the pictures of the cops standing nose to nose with the people, the citizens trying to redress their government, and no mask, and no 6-foot social distancing, and nothing else.
Maybe they were protesting too.
Let's hope so.
Did you have that thought? See, you just straight to the negative.
Well, I'll. Why don't they just stand down and say, okay, Gavin Newsom, we're no longer enforcing your stupid laws. We're letting the people in.
Because they probably all get fired, and they probably don't want that. Especially with
Well,
Mother's Day
if they
coming up.
fire them all, then they're going to be in more of a heap of trouble, because then where is your police powers? How are you going to enforce your police powers, Gavin Newsom? But it probably is a good point, and I hope more law enforcement officials are on this of that, because I thought that was very interesting. They're sitting nose to nose on that, and flash the picture up on there again as we on this, because it's very telling. But we're about ready to bring back one of our longtime guests we've had on a long time. He's the owner of Political Vanguard. You'll see him on Fox Business News, TV stations all across the board. TomDell.com, I think, is one of his new websites. But he wrote a very interesting piece about all of the things that we've been talking about today. Relates to the protesters in Orange County at the beaches, the protesters up in Sacramento, Modoc County, Del Norte County are wanting to gas this thing up. Riverside County's slated to reverse some of these draconian orders. But he wrote a column today called Gavin Newsom's California shutdown orders go too far and wide and violate constitutional rights by none other than Thomas Del BECCARO. So welcome to IE Newswire Daily with Stephanie and Roy.
Hey, good to see you again. It's been a long time.
Most people don't say that about me.
Nobody ever says that.
I can't see Stephanie, though. I just see the roses.
There you go.
there
You
she
have to
is.
adjust the webcam there a little bit so Tom can see what's going on over here. Of that,
Roy did it on purpose.
Yeah,
so that
I
you
did
would
that.
only look at
I
him.
only wanted. Yeah, I wanted to cut her out of the picture so I could be the star of the
Rude.
show.
There you go.
And I don't know if you caught it. It just broke about an hour ago. A judge down in Orange County did not grant the stay of Gavin Newsom's order on the beaches. He said he wanted more information. I think he's continuing it to May 11th. He's not ruling one way or the other. He just said I don't have enough information to grant the stay. I think it was by Newport Beach and Dana Point. But that just broke. Do you have any comment on that before we get into your column?
Well, it could be that he doesn't have enough information. 11 days, actually, in this particular circumstance is going to be significant because I believe that the number of cases around the state are going to continue to drop. And there's basically going to be no case to be made by the governor's office for most of California that these kind of restrictions should go on. And so if we can talk about a little bit about the article, we need to remember that you are free. The whole purpose of government was to preserve your freedoms while still acting as a country. And it is the burden on government to justify taking away or curtailing your freedoms. And when they do, as a legal matter, they are required to show a compelling reason for it. I'm trying not to use too much legalese. A compelling reason for it.
Yes, I'm on the line here. You got to make it understandable.
Yeah, no, that's not what I meant. A compelling reason, and whatever you do must be done in the most narrow way possible. You can't be, as we would say, overbroad. And what does overbroad mean? A broad brush, wiping out everything when really you're just going for one blade of grass, not the entire lawn. So what do I mean by this? Well, Gavin Newsom has a, quote, statewide shutdown order. But everybody who's in California, and I mean everybody, knows that California is anything but the same street. What the beach in Orange County is like is completely unlike where places like Modoc are and other rural places that Alpine, which has not had any cases. Modoc has no cases. People aren't even really going there whatsoever. So by definition, treating California as all the same is overbroad. And you run into the problem that how can you have a compelling need to shut down Modoc, Alpine, even Sonoma, when there are no new cases? What's your threat? And so there have been many, many cases that have been filed, some more high profile than others. You will see more cases done. You will probably see some, how shall I say this? Judges who are not strong enough to defend the Constitution, but they need to be appealed, and these rulings need to stick. You don't take away people's rights because you're in office and you think it's a good thing. You have to have a compelling reason and a narrowly drawn restriction. We don't have that today.
Stephanie.
Why are you throwing it at me like that?
Well,
No, I agree with everything he's saying. And I mean, I think people are kind of forgetting that they have that freedom to go out and do things. But then also at the same time, I'm scared that people are going to start going crazy and more protests and riots are going to happen. I mean, it's going to get scary. And I hope they see it soon before that takes place.
Well, also we need to remember this. Not 2.5 weeks ago, the Democrats and Fauci The United States.
You have a problem
needs
with that name too, like I do.
No,
You have
I
a
don't have
problem
a
with every
problem.
name.
I'm saying it with disdain because the
I know
United
that.
States needs a second opinion.
That's the way
Not
I do
him.
it too.
Keep this in mind. They all told us how dangerous the Wisconsin election was going to be and that there was going to be a spike. You know what? There were no spike. There were statewide, there were 46 more cases, which wasn't outside their norm. So this constant battle to scare people has to end. That's number one. Number two, there's a study out of England that says they expect 18,000 additional cancer deaths because their cancer patients are not able to get treatment because of the COVID restriction. 18,000. Project that across the United States, and that's over 100,000 deaths. 100,000. That is more than the coronavirus. So this notion, I get this all the time. Oh, Tom, you don't care about people. You're risking people's lives. No, what I do is like true leadership requires is to take everything into account and represent and hold in your hand as many interests as reasonably possible. It is not reasonable, and that's just cancer. Doesn't say anything about heart disease, diabetes, or a lot of the other things that are out there. It is not reasonable to cause 4 times as much deaths or more in other diseases because you are focusing on a single disease, COVID.
I can tell you
Very
that,
true.
and I say this a lot. I can tell you the problem with your column is you're applying logic to this situation, and that should be the overwhelming theme from Trump on down. Gavin Newsom should come to understand this. Cuomo and all these ones that are running around running the fear campaign on this. You're not looking. I want to see the data. Gavin Newsom will not release the data so far of how he's making these decisions or what they're doing. I want to see the data because you're exactly right. The long-term damage just of this, of deaths, plus of if we try and live in this bubble of that and not develop a herd immunity to this thing could come striking back, or we could have even more potential problems of doing this of far greater than the people that, like you said, we're not discounting the death of people that were probably on the, waving the white flag or soon seeing the checkered flag anyway on this earth that we're going out. And we're going to extend one or very few lives, a couple, while we take the average life expectancy and start shortening it 1 to 2 to 3 to 10 years over this.
And keep in mind that the issue isn't how many died this year in Sweden or the United States. It's going to be through the life of this. And Sweden believes, and including a number of doctors, one of whom is in the World Health Organization, and their supposition is that they will have less problems next year than they do now. But the United States, because we haven't developed sufficient herd immunity, could be in the same position. And I'm just saying out loud, in my view, Americans are going to put up with this again next year.
Yeah, what if it does snap back and we do get 100,000 or 250,000 deaths of this because of the policies?
I'm curious to see what they do.
Yes, then
I'm scared to see what they do. Not curious.
Yeah,
I'm scared.
If they're doing this under this reaction, if we really have something bounce back or something, or this thing rebounds and comes back stronger on this stuff, man.
What they'll do is they'll try and blame Trump. Because he opened it up too quickly, but it's false. It was the whole theory of the shutdown is now being proven false. And as I said earlier in the week, which caused quite the stir about Gavin Newsom, there are so many politicians who are so invested in their position that they can't change them. But in the real world, like whether it's in your family or at work, where you have to be accountable, if the situation changes and new facts come in, you must adapt to those. But not in government, because they're not responsible. They're not going to pay a price for this malpractice. Americans are, and in one-party states like New York and California, they're not going to get voted out unless a miracle comes along and someone strong runs, and that's what California needs right now.
Exactly. I'm hoping that this may be the catalyst that we're going to mark this day and time, that we see that this is a turnaround in the once great state, golden state of California, and get back to that, model that we had that was a very fiscally conservative and socially liberal on the things that we were doing on the stuff of that prior to 1990 on that stuff, when we had the greatest 150-year run probably of any state in recorded history of that. And again, it's just going back to the same thing. Just go back to what we were doing right back in those days. You might not agreed with everything that was going on, but we were number one pretty much in education, economics, and every other thing. And now we're looking at the bottom of the list on this stuff. And on top of that, we're using a virus that we should not be scared of. They're using it to try to instill fear in our citizens to control them, which, is just driving me absolutely insane.
Yeah, and look, that's why you see these protests coming up. And it's a good thing these lawsuits are being filed, because you need to challenge. The law is what is enforced, not what Gavin Newsom says per se. And you have to fight back against these things or you lose your rights. Freedom needs to be won every day. That's the truth, because those in government want to take power and rights away from you, because that's the history of mankind. That's human nature for those type of egomaniacs to do that. And for the rest of us who just want to be left alone, unfortunately, we have to fight to be left alone.
Yeah, it is. It's like a never ongoing process on all this stuff. And we're just, it is. And I've been, at least from my perspective, I've been getting increasingly concerned, and not seeing it turn around. But we had the Prop 13 thing come along, and just imagine if we'd have passed a $15 billion bond on top of this, and then had this happen.
Let me tell you, Joe Biden wants to raise taxes. This fall, Gavin Newsom wants Prop 13 to go through. All these states. One of my last op-eds at Fox was about the fact that all these states are going to have massive deficits, and they're going to want to raise taxes. And if you raise taxes in a weak economy, it's like giving a sinking swimmer weights. And that's their mentality, because they have no accountability. And so things could get dramatically worse here in California. And Gavin Newsom should pay the political price for that by losing his job, as opposed to what he wants to do, which is run for president.
Yeah, if he doesn't pull this stuff back quickly, you remember back in 2003, we recalled Gray Davis on tripling the car tax. And that on the scale of things is like infinitesimal compared to what's going on now.
Yeah, that's a good point. The size differential, you're right. We also recalled, in part, it started with recalling Gray Davis because he failed to release the electrical contracts that he signed and was hiding them. And Gavin Newsom's hiding the contract that he signed with a vendor who's never done anything like this before. So there's all sorts of reasons. The problem is that the state now is so slammed because we run off so many middle-class people and who sometimes are the same, right? To other states looking for jobs and are doing well in Texas as opposed to here. And so I ask a simple question. If you want to restart a business or you want to start a business, why would you do it in California if you have no certainty as to when they're going to shut you down again?
Yeah, if something like this, pray tell, something like this, or as we're suggesting, or at least I'm suggesting, we have the very real possibility of this thing coming back and catching us on the rebound even harder. What's left to come? Like I said, the way they're going, we'll be begging for socialism the way they're at it. Like I said, what they're doing would make Mussolini, what they got in store, would make Mussolini and Stalin blush in the way they're controlling us.
I'm not sure I'd go that far, but
he's dramatic.
They are going to run this state economy into the ground, and people are going to leave. The productive people are going to leave where they can go to be productive, and that's a bad thing. Joel Kotkin, the famed demographer, has already talked about that we have the rich here, we have the unions, and the poor, and the middle class is being gutted because they're in search of jobs, and they're going to push that even more.
Yeah, and we're on that was before this. And what is it? The other day, 2,500 a day unemployment claims was in California, and it shot up the other day to 235,000.
That's crazy.
That's
Yes,
like
no, and
unbelievable.
it is that way. And let me tell you, I've been a small business attorney going on, I'm not going to say how many years, but longer than Stephanie's been alive. And
Thank you. I think. I don't know.
yes. And let me tell you, restaurants operate on thin margins.
Yes.
The California Restaurant Association thinks that up to 30 to 40% won't reopen. Okay, that's a lot of jobs. And you know who that hurts the most? Those who aren't rich. I was a dishwasher, all the dishwashers, the busboys, the waitresses, the waiters, the servers, however you want to describe these people, they're the ones who need the jobs. But they're killing this off because they think they're not having to pay it. Gavin Newsom's still getting paid. All these assembly men and women are still getting paid. They figure they're in protected seats. They have a job next year. And Gavin Newsom expects the Congress to bail out his budget deficit. But you know whose budget deficit can't be bailed out by Congress in all likelihood? I don't know. How about San Diego's? How about Riverside's? What about where I live? They're creating deficits everywhere. It's unbelievable. But, they're just politicians.
There you go. And this is my one example, and nobody's been able to dispute this. 2,000 deaths in California, 40 million. About 20,000 in New York, or 40 million. 20,000 in New York, about 20 million. They both put social distancing orders in March 19th and 20th. If social distancing made any difference on this, why is New York's death rate 20 times that of California? If somebody can answer me that question, then I will start believing them. We got about a minute left, Tom. I'll let you wrap it up and give a plug for all your stuff.
Well, what I'm hopeful is that people continue to push back against overreaching orders. I'm not against reasonable orders, but I am against overreaching orders, especially since they don't appear to be working. Anyway, people, of course, can always get my book, The Divided Era. They could go to tomdell.com or politicalvanguard.com and catch me, I don't know, on Fox
everywhere
next Tuesday. Thanks, folks. We'll see you.
You got it. Thanks a lot for being on, Tom. There you go. I mean, he said the biggest thing I took from what Tom said is you got to fight for freedom every day. And that's really true. I mean, no matter which way of this.
It's sad.
Yes. It kind of is sad in a way, but I mean, it's just the reality of the situation because there are people every day that want to take it away from you. It's disheartening. It is, but it's just the way it is. You have to, knuckle down on that. You have to get it, It would be great if we didn't have to deal with this whole thing. But even more important, I think, it would be absolutely fantastic if we would have dealt with this in a sane manner, looking at it realistically, considering all the data, everybody's viewpoint, put it together, and then say, okay, here it is. Okay, maybe, and like I said, I could even bought the stuff. Well, maybe we need to, do this for a couple weeks to see how until we get a better handle or find out what's going on. We're a little bit concerned. We're very concerned about this. Yes, it came out of China, out of a biolab. We're pretty certain of that. This is the situation. Explain it. I think if you explain it simply and lay the truth out there and lay the facts out there and not get into all this other stuff, people will understand. And then you take reasonable measures to do this. Okay, we went through a couple of weeks of this. We know where the problem is. Older people with conditions in nursing homes. We're going to release these measures. We're going to get back to the way we are. Yeah, we had a couple 2 or 3 week pause in our economy. We can recover for that. If it's going on 6 weeks, months, into next year with this stuff, man, I don't even like to consider the possibilities of what might happen.
Hi, Marilee. Thanks for being an amazing lunch lady. Carla writes in, and I really like her point. I just need to find it. Why are they protesting the beach instead of protesting in front of closed small businesses? Is the beach a necessity? I get why they're protesting at the beach because it's a state park and they want their freedom and just go to the beach because they want to. But I like her point too. Why aren't they standing up for the small businesses? Stuff that actually is having an impact. The beach isn't sitting there upset because they're about to have to shut down. The beach is going to be there forever.
I think
I like Carla's point.
Well, if you watch in there, there were like hundreds of live casts and people. Most of the people were bringing up the same thing. I think the one. Where's the beach in Sacramento? The ones that were up there at the Capitol were not in a beach, but they were really the same thing. It's you're closing down our jobs. You're taking away our everyday way of life across the board. The people in Orange County were doing the beach thing because that's specific to them, but they were still saying the same things that you're closing down the businesses. So it's all most of the people are protesting this across the board, taking our freedoms away, taking our livelihoods away, taking our recreations away, and everything else.
Teresa writes in, all I know is I just want everyone to be happy, and I think that's what everybody wants at this moment. Roy is never happy, so we're kind of screwed on that one, but I think he'll get there one day. Carla writes in, let's open up with masks on for the time being, but we need to come together and budge a bit on each side. I agree. I think that, there's something to each side, but if we go out with masks on right now, my tan line is going to be horrible, so I don't know if I'm really into that.
Masks on are going to be off in Riverside County.
All white right
and
here.
Teresa, there is no mandate statewide on masks.
But to leave off, I wanted to play a little clip because it's Friday and I'm tired of all this COVID crap and being scared and everybody being negative, that I wanted to end the show on a laugh. So if my producer is ready, if he can roll the little clip.
So as some of you guys might know, I'm a music teacher, and I found that one of the best ways that I can process the whole transition to online learning and teaching is to write a song. So I wrote a song. I'd like to share that with you guys now. Here we go.
And that pretty much sums it up.
I think that's how everyone's feeling right now.
Yes, you couldn't sum it up any. That should be the #1 hit in 2020.
I think it did.
That should be top of the charts on that because that pretty much sums it up the whole thing. And all, like you say, all seriousness aside of that, it's really criminal of what they're doing to us. You're starting to see that after 6 weeks of this stuff.
We're ending the show on a positive note.
The people are finally taking it into their own hands and saying, "Please set us free." And that is the biggest positive we can get out of this.
Well, I tried. And I just saw him pop on. Make sure you hit the farmers market this weekend, downtown Riverside off of Main and 5th, I believe. Don't send me hate mail if I got it wrong. Starts at 8:30. I think.
Tomorrow morning.
Yep, check it out.
Of that.
It was a good show.
Yes, it was fun.
Somewhat we're okay with keeping it positive. You did a horrible job.
Thanks for Tom BECCARO for coming on, giving us the insights on that.
And next time you cook something, leave the recipe.
We're gone.
We're gone.